All right, what is up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable Trades podcast. You already know I see Freon Leon in here. If anybody else is out there, say what's up. We have a good one for you guys tonight. Let me just make sure everything is up and running. I think we are good. So I'm going to give a quick thanks to our sponsors and then we'll get into it. So let me hit that. There we go. I also want to thank our new sponsors, CallRail. So I've been more into marketing and just online presence with our business, even though we only do commercial. Word of mouth is really good for any business. But once you get to a place where you want to be, a big name online or just anywhere, be recognizable, like I said, online presence, have a nice website, be able to be searchable in Google and all these different search engines, and just have a big presence. You need to know where to spend your money, and all I'm going to say is that CallRail can help you track that if that's something that you're interested in. CallRail can tell you, hey, these are not working so much, these are working really good, stop spending your money here, put more money and effort into this, and just be smarter about what you spend. So make sure you go by callrail.com. They do have a no risk free trial and you can check it out for yourself. And when you're doing your day-to-day work, you got to make bids, you got to do those quotes. I think one of the things that we have to deal with now is finding and pricing out parts. And that's why I wanted to tell you guys about We Supply Trades. They are a family owned online distributor with over 90 years of experience in HVAC, hydronics, and the plumbing world. And if you need parts quickly, they have a massive inventory, which I've been told they've been adding to weekly. You can order by 3:30 p.m. Eastern and get it shipped same day. They have their pro membership, which is not only free, but you also get the benefit of better pricing, free shipping over $99, free returns, and for my listeners, you get a bonus of 15% off your first order with code reliable15. And if you're looking for a supplier who truly understands your world, please go check out wesupplytrades.com. I'll leave my exclusive link down in the description, and these guys just get it. Local HQ is a marketing that is geared towards the trades, proven strategies that get your business more leads. They can help you rank higher on Google and all that you would need. So reach out to them at localhq.com/reliable and mention me or the Reliable Trades podcast and get 2 months of SEO for free. All right, bills are paid. I also want to thank our obviously our other sponsors, Vita Pro Pack, Best Tool Bags. They have a lot of stuff coming out right now. I'm currently trying out their Norwalk lineup. I really think it's kind of cool. So check out Vita Pro Pack, and obviously our favorite CRM that helps run our business. I've been doing more automations as we get into it, and I think we'll talk a little bit about business in this episode here as well. But Jobber, there is a free trial and discount if you guys go check out the description. And as far as this episode, I got a returning guest. We have none other than, let me just get him on. Ewok, what is up, man?
What's up, Adrian? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Let me just make sure all my levels here. Okay, there we go. It's been a while. I feel like we have quite a bit to catch up on. You've been making some moves, making some changes in a very short amount of time. How long have you been in the trade again, just to kind of refresh everybody?
I'm going on about 3 years now.
3 years. So there's a lot to unpack in just 3 years in the field, and a lot of good stuff. I just, I stay on social media to keep in touch with people. Obviously, I got, some things here and there to do, like the podcast and, some stuff with the channel, which I was actually going to skip this week, but you're like, yeah, let's do it. I was like, all right, I'm all for it, man. Let's just go for it. So,
Yeah, man, I was excited when you
it's
DM'd me because it has been a minute. It's been a minute.
it has. And the last time that I had you on, like, I didn't really know you. Like, we just kind of like, I kind of saw you and I'm like, you started your channel, you were doing things, you were starting out actually. And I, wanted to get to know you and basically how you've been, how you got in the trade and all that stuff. And now we can talk about everything else because you made a move. You're gonna start your own thing eventually. You're getting into social media. So I think it's a good chance for us to catch up. But you've been doing some good things.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's do it. Let's catch
So
up.
yeah, so you are currently at a new company. So I do kind of want to just ask: is it the same? Are you doing the same kind of work? What was behind that move there, basically?
Yeah, so the whole reason for the move, what was going on was it was a little slower than I wanted at the old company. So what we found out was basically our current boss was really invested into plumbing because we do plumbing and HVAC. So he
Yeah, I
really was
saw that you were
focused on his
doing that.
plumbing. Yeah, so he was focused on his plumbing side, which is awesome because plumbing is a great trade and brings in tons of money. So he wasn't really focused on his HVAC side. So we started seeing a decline in how in calls and stuff like that. So that was one thing that kind of sucked at the beginning of summer. It was just very slow, which kind of sucks. So like that was
Very
one of the main
weird.
things. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very
very
weird,
weird,
right?
very different. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we were seeing was we were kind of seeing that in California because of the economy. That's what we were seeing in the beginning of summer. A lot of companies were a bit slower. It was a bit different. It was a bit slower start to the summer. So it kind of affected a bit of us. But it definitely worked out in the long run. But yeah, so I posted on Instagram just my regular content, and then my current boss, he saw that post and he DM'd me and he asked me like he was under the impression that I was a independent contractor. So he DM'd me and said, "Hey, if it ever gets slow for you, let me know. I can
Hmm.
subcontract installs to you." So that was a pretty cool opportunity that arose up. But we met up for coffee, him, me, and my friend Macau. So we met up for coffee and we were basically talking and we established that we're not an independent contractor. And he was saying that the offer still stands on the table for when I do get my license, etc. But he's
Okay.
for now he offered us a job offer to work with his company. So that's how
So
we went
he
about working for them.
so he basically had you on social media and he just saw that you were looking. That's crazy.
Yeah, he didn't even know
There's
I was looking.
but okay, there was other people that I've talked to, and specifically like I just had Pat Finley on last week, and people
Yeah, saw that.
find people through social media or even a podcast because like I don't know if Brian's in here today, but Brian Sanders did his podcast and got a job offer from it, and I've heard others from his because Pat's very networked into the kitchen side and have gotten job offers from that, from being on social media or being on a podcast. And it's crazy how word travels because we, as you know, because you are running with Jobber now as well, trying to build up a brand or a business. A lot of it is word of mouth. So whenever I talk to somebody, I'm like, yeah, I know, like old school is always word of mouth. That's always king. Your reputation, all that kind of stuff. And of that amplified on social media because you're gonna see people are gonna see you and people are gonna talk and it's gonna get around like hey because I've said it plenty of times. If any of the guys that I saw on guys and girls, if any of them on social media that I've seen were in my area, I would hire them in a heartbeat. I would love to have everybody that does good work and takes pride in it and shows what they do and goes through everything. I was like, I wish I could hire all you guys and all you were
Oh
like
yeah,
living
that's
here.
hard to find.
It would be awesome. Yeah. Cause it's hard to find around here. Every time I think I find somebody, it's like, oh, they have something that they're not, something that they lie about. I've seen that, or, they don't clean up after themselves, or they completely misdiagnose a simple call. And I'm like, okay, never mind. So, uh, social media is just really cool because you get to see so many people and it just happened to be that
Yeah.
you found your next job opportunity there, and it's really cool that he's cool with you as far as like he thought you were gonna be subcontracting with him, but he ended up hiring you and your friend there, which I do follow as well because you guys are posting on social media and everything. It's really cool to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's honestly insane the opportunities that come with social media, like job offerings or stuff like that. So like I tell a lot of people like get out there and do that because I see a lot of people on social media looking for jobs. Like mainly in HVAC too. Like I see a lot of like journeys, a lot of people's journeys who had just gotten out of trade school and had just gotten hired. So they record their entire journey, and that's just awesome to see, and it definitely gives you more exposure as well.
And that
I see a lot
insight,
of people.
because I get a lot of questions too about, or comments and messages like, hey, how do I get hired? Or I can't get a job. I can't this. I can't that. It's like, well, you got to put yourself out there. And I'm not saying like
Yeah,
social media is for everybody or social media is going to do everything for you, but um, how many jobs did you apply at? How many? I've seen people turn down low paying jobs because it's not good enough, and I'm like, well, you start somewhere. I always tell people I took a pay cut to get into the trades. I used to have a grocery store job, and I made more
yeah,
there than I did when I started, and it was because I wanted a career, not a. I didn't want to be in that grocery store forever, right? So you gotta
yeah.
keep
No,
that in mind,
definitely.
and look at opportunities like that, and just put yourself out there, whether it's in real life or in social media.
Yeah, and I got a question like that not long ago, and it was how to get hired because it's been really hard recently because a lot of these companies want 2 years of experience. So what it comes out to is a lot of these guys, they at the end of the day they can get hired, but they don't want to get hired to those small mom and pop shops. They don't want to take that pay cut, and they don't want to, they don't want to make minimum wage. So that's the thing to get into the trade. You might have to do that, like you said. You need to be humble and you start out $16 an hour and work for those small mom and pop shops, and you can get your experience there. And sometimes there's a benefit of working for a small company because if you start off at a bigger company, you know, you might not just be diagnosing, you might just be doing tune-ups because some companies operate different. So if
Yeah.
you're working alongside a small mom and pop shop, there's a lot to learn, and it's only temporary, so you get your experience, then you move up.
Like, so I've talked to a lot of guys that start at a super, super small business, local, family owned, and it's only a couple of guys, maybe like even in my situation, like a father son. I've heard that plenty of times. And eventually they outgrow it, and it's okay. Like, if you learn, if you get used to the work, get used to running, I think you're used to, or you got used to running your own calls relatively quick. So that's always a plus, right? You don't need your hand held, right? Every time you go out to a call, or you don't have to be that apprentice that is always being driven around or anything like that. Like, those are big things that you can get with a small company, because they really need you, and they really need those extra hands and extra people, and they'll hire you. But obviously the pay's not fantastic. It's not great. But I've heard so many people that start there and they love it. They're learning so much. It's a great company, great environment, typically, right? Unless it's like a really bad one. But for the most part, they enjoy it. It's just eventually they have to move on. And that's okay. Like, if you outgrow it and you need to go somewhere where there's a better pay or better hours, whatever it is, you that experience goes with you. They can't take it away from you. That skill, that experience, all that you got there, you take it with you. Hopefully, there was no bad habits. That's the only bad thing that I see in a lot of older techs that I've tried to hire, but that's about it. Um, so in my experience, because I've mentioned this recently, just because we've been so busy, is I miss those days of being super small and super chill, basically, where I could take all day on a call, or I could take a little longer to figure something out, or learn the hard way by being there X amount of hours, late nights, whatever it is, because I didn't have. Now I have a family to get home to, right? I always try to make dinner. We always have something going on with the kids. So that's always on the back of my mind. And then now just running and gunning is big, big for us right now. I just finished a maintenance contract. I got another one. I just got the emails. I'm, losing my hair over that kind of stuff. Just work coming in and out, coming in like crazy. And I was just thinking about that recently. I miss being like small and slow because that's when you learn and that's when you get to enjoy it a little bit more. But you got to take advantage of that. Like you said, if you can get in at a small business and the pay is not great, you have a chance to move on. It's you're not it's not forever, right?
Yeah, there's this bad stigma a lot of people get when it comes to moving companies. There's a stigma where people are thinking you're using the person, or maybe you're just hopping around companies. I know when I switched companies, they talked right away and were saying stuff like that. Like, why would you play the person who fed you? Something like that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you
Yeah.
have to do what's best for you. And if you need to be able to move on to a better opportunity. And I'm not saying cut ties like in a bad, negative way, leave on a bad note, burn the bridge. No, that's not what I'm saying. The companies that I've worked for and left in the past, we are still good. We have great relationships, and like they've offered help for when I start my company. So it's not like I just
Yeah.
left them in the dust. You know what I mean?
That's cool because even for me, like I've tried to network or be friendly with other companies because it comes in handy when you need help with something because I don't do certain jobs, but you get to a certain point when you have your own business, they ask you to do anything and everything and you're like, man, if I can't do it, I need to know somebody that does and have them on speed dial or whatever, or at least be on good terms and subcontract. And that's a big thing for us surviving as a small company, being able to, if we can't do it, because we have guys that do. I'm very stubborn. I'm very picky with the kind of work that I do. I like, the restaurant work. I like the service work. We've done installs, but it's not our bread and butter basically. And we used to charge really cheap. Now we charge exactly what I think we're worth, and it kind of weeds out those calls that we don't want. But we have guys that do like stainless steel work. We have guys that do the walk-in box, right? Like they can build or repair panels or doors, where I don't
Nice.
have to be there all day trying to figure it out and struggle with it. I'll pay the guy to do it as long as the customer's okay paying, whatever it is to subcontract them. Like those are things that you have to keep in mind. That's why you don't want to burn bridges because uh, I learned that really early on. You don't want to be at odd ends with anybody and even have them badmouth you. There's a bunch of negativity that comes with it, but at the end of the day, I got friends that can help me with certain jobs that I don't want, help me with residential that I don't want, and this goes for trades too, like electricians, plumbers. And in return, they kick me some restaurants that they don't want to do because they don't do commercial. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go
Nice.
out and get some extra calls from it. So it's always good
Yeah.
because uh, I feel like there's enough work to go around, and it should be helping each other. That's why I think it's really cool that your current job, they're okay with that. They wanted to subcontract, or now they're probably, I'm assuming they kind of know that you may want to do your own thing at some point and they're okay
Yeah.
with it.
So
I've heard that, which is
yeah.
great, but there's so many companies that get worried about it and it eats them alive. They don't want anybody, or they see everybody as competition, and that's what sucks.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'll get into that. So, my boss that hired me for this new company, so he offered mentorship to us. So he's really mentoring us, me and Macau, to start up our company. So he's aware that we want to start up. He basically
That's
made a
cool,
game
man.
plan for us on how to do it. Yeah, he's super awesome. So every Sunday, me and Macau go to the shop and we have our conversation about our company. So it's like separate from Caribou, it's just about us, and we basically just get fed information and we just brainstorm them. It's been really great. He's a very knowledgeable person. He's been in the trade for I want to say 18, 20 years. He's been in business for 2 years. He's worked for some of the big companies, the biggest companies out here, Next Gen and stuff like that. And then he did his own thing, but yeah, he's came from pretty much nothing, just using credit cards to start his own business, and to a point where he's at now. I think his second year he's at 2 million. So it's not too bad. It's awesome.
That's a,
Yeah.
and I'm not familiar with California, but those, I haven't seen that name, but you're saying he's done quite a bit in his short tenure as his own boss and all that. So I mean, that's a good mentor to have for sure. And see
Yeah.
that's how I am too, because my dad was always afraid to hire people, and I get it because all the older techs, they want like high pay, they want they have the bad habits, they have aspirations to, because it's happened before, like to steal your customers and go do their own thing. Like that's always the concern.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, we've talked about it, and that's why we started hiring basically right now, because I want to bring people in that are young that we can train and show them how we do things, kind of go about it that way, and just have the extra help. And they've been able to run their own calls now, which I'm like, fantastic. We've
Oh
been
yeah.
so busy that they're busy and I'm still busy, and it's like I might need a
That's
couple other
awesome.
guys. Yeah,
Definitely.
and my whole thing is I've tried to speak it into existence right now, is because I even went to my local community college. Well, it's a college now. It used to be a community college when I went, but my local college, to see their new like apprentice program that they're helping, their students, because that's where I went for HVAC basically, and they're helping their students get jobs and reach out and get apprenticeship program going, and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to have help when I need it, and if they want to move on, because that's the number one complaint I get is nobody will hire me without experience. I was like, at least here locally, come work for me for a couple years and then you can go off. Like I don't really need 40 employees. Like that's not my goal personally.
Yeah.
And if we can have guys coming in and out, I'm fine with it. I'm
Yeah.
and the reason I'm bringing it up is because your boss there, I feel like he's very confident as well in himself, because he's like, he's not afraid to lose customers to you guys. But I mean, I'm sure there's an understanding there, and as long as there's a respect both ways, I don't think there's any issues there. I'm not worried about losing work at this point in time, and that's what I've been trying to tell my dad. I was like, it's happened before. We've been burned. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
that was a completely different situation. We had just started when we didn't know any better, and that's when that happened. But now, 18, 19 years in, I think we're good. So we have, this thing now where we want to do like an apprentice program, bring them in,
Nice.
train them up, see if they want to stay, if they want to leave. I really don't care. I'm
Yeah.
trying to stay under 10 employees right now.
Nice. That's good. So with my boss, basically in the beginning, when he offered to hire us, he also gave us like an option to for him to feed us our own calls. So he get his own calls, sorry. So he gave me an account option to run out of my van, and he gives us his marketing calls. And if
Well,
if
wait,
we make something,
let's interject really quick. You
okay.
were going to buy a vehicle and you decided to buy a work van, right? So
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
buy a
So
big ass expensive truck or a Lamborghini or whatever the
yeah.
kids buy nowadays. You went and bought a work van.
Yeah, I forgot we haven't even talked about it. It's been so long. Yeah, yeah. I had a daily driver, just point A to point B car. Those cars are pretty infamous for their transmission going out, so it finally did go out, and I was saving some money around that time because I knew it was gonna go out. And I was in a position when it did go out, if I wanted to buy a car or if I wanted to invest it into a work van. So I love cars. My dream car is a BMW M3 F80. Twin. That car is amazing. I love that car. I've always dreamt of having that car. And I was left with a decision to make, and I ended up going with the van. So I bought a 2023 20 Ram ProMaster 2500, and yeah, that was the purchase I made. And I thought, like, hey, if I'm gonna spend my money, and I might as well spend it on something I'm gonna get a good ROI on. So yeah, that was the move.
Dude, that's crazy because nobody does that. So, um, and I talked to people here and there. Some people had seen that and they're like, "Damn, I wish I had done that." So that was a a good move there. And obviously, you got to have short term goals and long term goals, right? So you're doing this now to get what you want, maybe a little bit later. And
Yep.
believe me, I mean that's going to come with time.
Yeah.
So So then how does that work? Are you working out of that for
No,
like your own
no.
calls or?
No, I'm not working out of it. I got a company van, but he did give me the option to, feed me some of his calls, and so I can see how it is to run a business. So if I make something, I make it, and if I don't, I don't. I waste my time. So he did give us the option, and at that point, I wanted to like immerse myself with him and his company because I think that I would get the best value and learning experience when I do that. So I told him like, hey, that is an awesome offer, and I definitely want to do that in the future. But right now, I want to just focus on his company and helping him grow his company and just do as much as I can because at the end of the day, he's providing a lot of value in his mentorship, teaching me the ins and outs of business. So I thought that was the right thing to do.
See, like that there's a couple of ways to go around it or go about it. The way we did it was my dad. I've said before, he says he quit. They fired him. Whatever it was, that was his jump start because he was always afraid to start it. He had already done all the back end, the business, the naming, the legal stuff, and he was just sitting on it because. And he bought vans too, right? We had vans in the backyard that were oh no, not a Vans. I'm sorry, a pickup truck, a blue pickup truck that was beat to shit. And then one day he got in a small like somebody hit him, and he's like, okay, I need to now trade it in to get an actual work van. Once we got traction because it just started. Like I said, he called me one day. He's like, I need you to pick me up. I got my box full of crap, and they kicked me out of the building. I don't have anywhere to get home because he had a work van, right? They kept it, and I was like, "What the hell, Dad?" I was like half asleep, waiting for my shift at the grocery store, and that's how he started. So sometimes you jump into it, but then you got to figure it out, and you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Or you got a mentor. You can take your time. There's no rush, and you're
Yeah.
going about it that way. Like you said, you can focus on his, and then just get all the like you said, you brainstorm, you talk about it, you build up to it, and then you can go about it later. So there's
Yeah,
different ways to
exactly.
go about it. I
Yeah.
tell people I would prefer if you're ready and you kind of build up towards it instead of just being plopped into it because it's like a sink or swim type of deal.
Yeah, definitely. I agree too. And that's our plan to definitely just build up to it so we don't, we don't take a huge risk. It's a risk either way starting a business, but getting
Oh yeah.
prepared, it's a lot better for sure.
Have you heard of this Everest group?
I have not. I just read that right now.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I think it's one of those. When I looked it up, keys to live successfully as a business owner.
Hmm. Never
I
heard of
haven't
that
heard of
before.
it. There's a few of them. Have you ever taken any of those? Because I have friends that take those courses from those certain type of people that teach about, business or what do you call it? Like sale tactics, whatever you want to call it. Have you taken any of those? I saw that you were reading books. What are you kind of doing to prepare, or do you do anything else? Like I said, after work, whether it's classes, webinars, or books, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of immersion in sales and other just mindset books. But yes, in the last company I was at, we did do sales training with Jason Walker. He's an awesome sales trainer. He used to, work for a company. Now he owns his own company, and then now he's doing traveling around the world doing sales training. So I did do that. It was an in person. He'd be in the truck with you, go with you to the call, and just kind of, train there. And then as far as other trainings, I read a book called What Should We Do? It's a pure motive sales training book. So basically, it's not none of these sales tactics, these slimy sales tactics like dealerships use. It's purely a pure motive service. So it's like having your customer in their best interest and having them choose and create the option that works best for them. That was a great book. I definitely learned a lot from that. And then yeah, I do plan on in the next month to go into hopefully flying out to Ohio to go to this sales training class. But that's what I've been up to recently. Because when you're a business owner, we make our money on installs, and we can't install a unit if you don't sell it. So you have to know how to communicate with your customer and sell a unit. It's simple as that.
Sales, very dirty word, but like you
Hmm.
said, it. How else do you pay the bills? So I get it. There's a friend of mine, Nate, HVAC Nate, I believe. He's been posting about like how because he goes. I want to say there's a name for it, right? When the guy that goes out there and kind of explains everything, and then he like is.
Comfort
I
advice.
don't know if he's there you go, comfort advisor. So he goes out there and he evaluates and he does all that. He also does service work and all that kind of stuff too. But he's been posting on his stories. He's selling like equipment a couple times a day, and it's like I'm like,
I
damn,
saw
dude.
that.
But that's oh, you did see it. So
Hmm.
that's awesome on the business standpoint. But and I've talked to him and I've talked to others. There's no funny business. There's nothing like that. Like you let the customer decide, and most times here's the thing. If you don't give your customer the option, because I learned this the hard way too. If you don't give them the option, you're not doing your job. You're being a bad technician or a bad business owner at that point. Because I used to think repair everything, and then
Yeah.
I thought that was how I was gonna make my bread and butter, and it still is. We don't do a lot of installs, to be honest, but I have to give them that option because I start losing money when they get into this frenzy of like, hey, you were just here and it's not working, and it's like super old equipment that it's like on its last leg or whatever, and then you got to deal with the callback. So there's a fine line, and at the end of the day, they might have already looked into buying a system, and maybe they're just looking for a reason to do it, and you're telling
Yeah.
them, hey, I need to advise you, this it needs this and this and this, or do you want something new with warranty? So
Yeah.
that is
Definitely.
something I had to
What?
learn because I was really bad at customer service when I started. So
Yeah.
that's something you do. That is a skill that you have to learn, and the
Yeah. And then
the sooner the better.
seeing his stories about the heat exchangers, like imagine that, like you don't do your due diligence and you
Dude,
don't check the heat exchanger. You
that's
see a big
crazy
crack.
how many he's seen. Yeah.
I know that's crazy because it's the fact that a lot of people don't want to come to the homeowner. They're scared because they know it's an expensive repair, and there's sometimes where
That
they
that
don't
was
want to
me. That
show
was
the
me.
everything.
I'll admit.
Exactly. But like you said, like it's in their best interest because if you don't show them that cracked heat exchanger, CO2 has a possibility of carbon monoxide leaking out into their vents and being harmful to them. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that you really have to show. There's that aspect, and then there's also the aspect of I think the biggest issue. A lot of what happens is a lot of people sell with their wallet, so
Yes.
meaning they don't want to show their client all the either like the top options, say, or they don't want to tell them, yeah, we'll just call it that. We don't want to tell them the top option because they're like, oh, I can't afford this. I could only imagine my customer can't afford. They're judging them. You know what I mean? So what I learned in this book is it's a pure motive sales book. So you have to show your customer everything because if you show this customer who looks well off, has a nice car in the driveway, everything, your highest option, your mid tier option, your low option, awesome. But if you judge someone and maybe you don't think they could afford that and you don't give them the high option, let's say they're neighbors and they're talking and they're like comparing the quotes like, oh, he didn't give me that high option, then what does that tell them about the technician? That they're judging him, and
Yeah.
they probably assume that he's broke. So you got to give all your options the same way to
Not
everyone.
only not only that, the whole neighbor thing. They might peek over and be like, "Why did they get this super fancy, high efficient system, and I got this piece of crap over here?" So you never know, right?
Exactly.
Like, and I used to be like that, and that's something I had to tell my dad. Was he was always worried, but he was also worried about competition. But he was always like, "Oh, they're not going to pay for it. They're not going to do this. They're going to get somebody else. They're going to do that." I was like, "Please let me, raise our prices." And I've had this talk a couple times because we used to be like $40 an hour. Like it was ridiculous. And I was telling him because I brought in the HVAC, right? And I'm like, this is not the rate that I should be, doing this at. And I don't know how the kitchen side works because he obviously had his experience there with, other companies, but I was like, this is not right. So we finally raised it, and there might have been a couple of comments, but they still paid us. They still were like, okay, that's fine, whatever, move on.
Yeah,
And if we had never initiated that, then we would have been stuck undercharging, right? So like you don't
exactly.
know, and this goes for commercial or residential. Like you don't know until you put your stuff out there. Now, What it did help us with is because we also started charging overtime because we didn't charge overtime before. You are gonna have some customers that just don't even bother because they do want the cheapest. That is always going to happen. But do you want those customers? Like when you start your business, you might take on whatever you can because you need it. But let me tell you, once we did all that and we weeded out those customers, like not to be, any sort of way about it, like those were the stressful customers. Those were the ones that were always haggling us or wanting us out there at midnight when it wasn't an emergency, whatever it is. It helped us weed them out, and we've made a ton more money since raising our prices and dropping some customers.
Yeah, definitely. And then here in our market in California, prices change every few months. So our
Oh yeah.
prices in the price book, they get updated every few months. So prices need to change when the economy changes, when our equipment changes, because our equipment goes up, has been going up so much, what is what I've heard. And it goes up because of a
I feel like
shortage.
it
It
just
goes
went
up
up
because,
again.
yeah, and it goes up, but even when that problem is fixed and sorted, it doesn't go back down. So it just
No,
stays there.
no.
It's
No, that was
crazy.
the easiest example of mine is like refrigerant. It used to be like
Yeah.
$80 a drum. And are they ever going to bring it back even to 100? That's never going to happen, right? So once prices go up, unfortunately, they don't really come down, or they don't come down much, and you have to, you know, make sure you reflect that in your business and your charging. I am constantly, just as a business owner, because I want to be on top of everything, constantly price checking, even if it's stuff that we have on the van, right? Everybody has their stock. I will price check every few months or every month just to make sure that, we, because once we sell all of our stock, we got to go buy it again. And if it doubled in price, we're screwed. So
Exactly.
price
Yeah.
checking, keeping up to date with all that, that's a big important part of
100%.
business.
Yeah.
And I never used to do that. I was always the employee. I was like, I just want to get in and out. So you're much better off than I was at your age. So I mean, it's always good to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Moto Media, y'all are busy right now. How are you guys staying busy at your new one?
Surprisingly, we've been staying decently afloat. Nothing crazy. Like today was the first day where I had no work. But besides that, it was like one or two calls a day. Besides today, but it's all marketing. Depending on how much you're spending on marketing, I believe. Because I know my boss was putting a pretty penny in marketing, and it was keeping us really busy compared to another company.
See, like, people don't think about the marketing because I've talked about it a little bit. Like, I don't have to do it as much on the commercial side because we have enough work right now. But I was like, you don't understand some of these businesses that you are like, how are they getting everything? How are they out there? How are they growing? They put a lot of money into marketing. It works, right? You got to do campaigns or ads online here and there, whatever you can to get eyes on you. I've always told people you got to stand out, you got to be unique, you got to be like everywhere. That's my main thing with our business is even though we don't do residential, so some of those ads won't work because we look for restaurant owners or managers, it's a very small pool. But I want to be a household name where in my area, they're like HVAC. Oh, I think of Reliable Kitchen or whatever it is. Like I
Yeah,
think of them instantly, right? So
definitely.
branding and even social media, just being everywhere. Right now,
Yep.
we got a bunch of vehicles because we got new guys.
Yep.
There you go.
It's a whole book about branding. Yeah, it's
Yeah, like we got
important.
a bunch of new guys, so they all got vehicles now, and I'm like sending them out to get wrapped, one by one, just so we can get, if they're on the road, I want my name out there. So that's a
Yep,
big
yep.
thing.
It's a rolling billboard for sure. Yeah, it's important. I was reading this book, Branded Not Blanded, and it tells you how important marketing is. Brand not marketing, but mostly branding and having your vans wrap, etc. Because if you have a great brand, it's going to carry its end when it comes to marketing. You won't have to spend so much money like you used to on marketing because your brand is great. It catches attention, and so it kind of carries your marketing. So it's shown like a lot of proof of after these companies change their brand to a better, more suitable brand, then their spend marketing goes down and their revenue goes
Yes.
up. Yeah.
See, I secretly critique every van that I see out there, and I'm like, okay, either I didn't. So like with me, because I do all my designs, I do all the logos. I've done a lot of them hand drawn, and I just send them out to get like professionally redone. And all my van wraps, that's me placing everything and putting it together
Nice.
and telling them exactly how I want it. Like I just got an email, and I'm like, no, you got this wrong, you got this wrong, you got that wrong. Do it again. So I'm
Yeah,
in control of all that.
that's awesome.
The main thing is, so somebody had asked like how are we staying busy? And I think brand awareness, branding is a big one. Now, if you don't do any of those online ads or anything like that, you need to be physically doing something in your local area, right? Like door hangers, flyers, whatever it is, and you need to leave like 1,000 of them. You can't just leave like 50, right? You're not gonna get. The more you leave, and it's a small percentage, the more that percentage of people, the more people in that percentage, right? Like you leave 1,000, you get 1%. That's a shit ton of people compared to 1% of 50 people, whatever it is. So what we do is the wraps, right? That's a huge one. So we used to just letter, and we had the little magnets. I didn't like that. I was like, you can't see
Yeah.
shit. You know, somebody passing by, nobody's gonna see it. And I critique these vans that I see now. I'm like, nope. I'm like, the name is too small. The name doesn't make any sense. It doesn't tell you what they do, or they don't have a logo that sticks out if the name is super long, or the number is not front and center, or the website, whatever you're trying to point them to. So like right now we're doing like AI answering service. So that number's on the vans now. But I make sure that I want to point them to the website. So I have the website, even bigger now on the new
Nice.
ones.
Yeah.
And that website has everything. They can fill out a form, they can call us, they can see our reviews, they can like I want them on that
Nice.
website because they can see
Yeah.
everything on that first page.
Oh yeah.
And that's a big thing for me. So I pick up work a lot on the van wraps. That's why I think
That's
it's so
better.
important, because we've gotten some new vehicles that they get immediately wrapped. And like I said, your name has to be super simple, like whatever heating and cooling or whatever this and that. But if you have a weird name like ours, because people think we do kitchen remodel or cabinets or whatever it is, because my dad named it Reliable Kitchen Services. I was like, okay, I have to do the cliche flame and snowflake thing. Like that's the biggest logo on our van. That way, people know they do HVAC, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I recently redesigned our van because some other companies had copied. I don't want to get mixed up on our old
I heard
design
it.
with other companies, so I completely redid it. And I just did a video that I need to post, but my whole thing was I want to be known, and I want to be seen, and I want to be like loud with it. Like you see our
Definitely.
van, you know what it is.
Yeah. And I do the same exact thing that you do, critiquing other people's vans, because I've learned so
I
much
do
in
it
this
all the time.
book. I do it so many times because this book tells you like literally exactly how to build a brand and how not to. And like you said, when you put services in your name, it's a little more difficult because you're gonna get some calls of like construction, stuff like that. So that's one thing I was talking about. Services, it's a wide range of things. And then I've seen firsthand that my boss, he had a part in designing his van a little bit, and he got everything as far as the colors, the mascot. He thought of it all himself, and it's a genius the way he thought about everything, the colors, what the colors bring as far as emotions, because certain colors cause certain emotions. So he got this coloring as far as everything down, thought about it to the T. But there's another company who's a lot bigger, huge company out here, and they did the same exact thing. They literally replicated his brand, band for band. It was crazy, and it looks like he was saying it looks like they copied him because I
You
don't know why I
flip.
did that. Let's see,
You got a
I don't even know how.
call or anything?
No. Oh, a call you said?
Yeah, I don't know. I've noticed when some people get like calls or something, it messes it up.
Let's see right now. Give me one second.
But what was I gonna say?
Is that there?
Yeah, it fixed.
Okay, I don't know why it
So he
says
had
ringing.
other people that ended up with the same design style.
Yeah, and yeah, literally band for band. If I pull up a picture, you'll literally see the same thing except him. He used a reindeer, a brown reindeer. They used a brown bear, and they have the same exact color coordination and gold tags, stuff like that. It was pretty funny. But yeah, it
Yeah, so
sucks
like
though. It
with
sucks 'cause-
mine, I've admitted I used different like Google searches when I was looking for designs, and I pulled from a couple to make mine.
yeah,
So I don't know if that's what someone else did, or they just copied mine because I had mine first, and I had other people telling me like, "Hey, I just saw this truck and I thought it was you." I was like, and they sent me a picture. I'm like, "Shit, it is like same exact colors, same exact, everything. It's just the name's different, and like the flame logo was like mine's orange, his was like blue and gray. I was like, all right.
Mhm.
And then there was
Yeah,
another huge company that the son took over, and they do a lot of residential and I think some construction, like on commercial buildings. And they looked completely different before, and now they are the same, except instead of like mine was like navy blue and then white broke it up and then light blue. His was like light blue, white, and green. And the same exact design where the name went, how the name was, how the it's slanted and everything. And I was like, okay, I need to start from scratch and do it like all over again
yeah,
because I don't want to get
that sucks,
confused or
man.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I was like, man, and we redid it completely, and I enjoy it
nice.
more now.
That's awesome. That's good. I don't even want to try to do my own brand. I don't have that touch. But the person who wrote this book, Dan Antonelli, he does all the work. He still builds brands and raps for clients. So I just reached out to him, and it's not cheap at all, but it's definitely like a great investment. Because it's gonna be worth it for sure.
I will say, like, I think maybe in the future, I will probably get it like professionally, maybe touched up and like redone, maybe the same look, but just redone. Because
Yeah.
like I said, most of
Yeah.
that was by me. So like it looks fine to me, but like it probably could be better. So I would probably invest in it later. I just wanted to see how it would
Yeah.
like turn out, and I like it,
Yeah. Definitely.
and
Yeah.
it stands out, and all that for us because I just got a new account because I went to go take a lunch in my work van, and they're like, "Hey, I saw your van, and can you come by? We want to get some stuff checked out, and we got a whole maintenance
Nice.
contract out of it as well." So like,
Awesome. That's sick.
yeah, because my brother doesn't like wrapped. I get the whole thing with because you're working with your friend, you guys get along. I work with my dad, I work with my younger brother, and we butt heads, and I have to accommodate for whatever they got going on, or I have to keep them in mind. And my brother was
Yeah.
there, like he just got a new truck, like a work truck, and
Mhm.
I've been trying to take it in, but we've been busy. And he's like, I don't want it wrapped. I'm like, you're getting it wrapped. I was like, that's
You
business,
know
right?
what that's
That's
called?
my
It's called
billboard.
the white van syndrome. That's what they call it because they like the white vans, the white trucks. Like
Yeah, it looks
it's a
clean.
syndrome.
It's
Yeah, it does
nice,
look clean.
but we're wrapping that thing. That's a big part of our business. I get a lot of calls
Yeah.
for that. My dad has even
If you
had people follow him to get the number down.
That's awesome. No, that's good. That means you did a good job for sure. And if you want, I know I've watched this guy's podcast. If you send him a picture of your rap design, Adrian, he'll literally just give you criticism and like help you out and see what to do better. Because he talked about it. He likes helping other people out.
Yeah, I'll probably have to give that a shot. I know it's a little messy, but I wanted like as much information on there, and I'm like, later I'll figure out how to clean it up. I just want it like done. So we did it,
Yeah.
and what was I gonna say? Trades over college. I get a lot of business from Facebook groups. I used to hustle like that too because I had a side business where I did phone repairs. So I did iPhones and iPads and all that computer repairs and stuff. I've gone down that rabbit hole of Facebook groups and handing out business cards and flyers. So that is a good
Nice.
way to get business. Is or Craigslist used to be a thing. I don't know if it's a thing anymore, but things like that.
Yeah. 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 Yep. Definitely. I wonder if anyone in the chat is going to be at AHR this coming year. I remember the first time when I went, I was with Trades Over College, Ryan. It was a blast, man. Meeting everyone,
Oh
the whole
yeah,
community. That was awesome. Definitely
I've
stoked
heard.
for this company.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Vegas, so it'll be a good one. Really quick, I've heard some. I think somebody asked us this on nights. Have you guys seen or used that iFlow kit for the drains?
Flow kit for the drains. I'm not sure. I've never heard of it.
I want to say it's like a bottle that gets mounted, and it I think it slowly releases something into the drain lines to keep it clean, and then you got
Oh,
to
what in the
refill it every
world?
now and then.
This is the first I'm seeing of that. I mean, Diversity Tech has their own version of this, of like the balls, the like tablet balls that are in the the drain line, so it passes it,
I want to
and it
try that.
gets.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
because we have one place that they're on a maintenance contract, but like right before it's up, because it's only twice a year, it gets dirty and clogged up, and I'm like, man, we got to be either be out here more often or um, get one of those where it's like built into. I've seen some built into the trap or built into the line somehow, and it
Mhm.
holds the tablets there. Because that
Yeah,
one just, I think it's just because it runs nonstop. It's also in a pizza place, so all the
yeah.
stuff that gets in the air, and it
Probably has
it
a
always backs up.
yeah. I don't know if you guys checked the EMAP foil. I think it's probably dirty. Maybe. Do you think?
Oh, they were before. Once
Oh,
we
were
got on the
they?
maintenance contract, they were like plugged up. Yeah, but it's still every now and then
Still happening.
backs up. I did switch over to like the new Calgon tablets, and they've helped. I just throw like a shit ton in there, and it's made a little
Nice.
difference.
That's good.
Let's see over here. Mark, he does a buy one get one maintenance plan every fall. It builds a customer base and locks them in for 2 years. That's a good way.
Yeah, the biggest thing here in our market is the tune-ups. Those are the big marketing campaigns that are done across all the companies is $59 tune-ups. Um, it gets us, to look at their system and in the door so we can do a full evaluation and see the health of their system. And then we show them the health of their system because a lot of people they're unaware of maintenance and they have no idea you're supposed to get maintenance at least once a year, and then it really adds up. Yes, that's what we do out here in IE.
Yeah, I don't. Um, I tell my customers about maintenance. I don't really. I mean, I remind them because they're so dirty. But
Yeah,
again, I leave it up to them. And lately everybody this year has approved our maintenance contracts. So we've been
nice,
getting in like that. Even like we have one that calls a lot of different companies. Like there's a couple of I don't know, two or three that they call. Like we're one of them, and we've managed to stay maybe at the top of the list there because we've had them on
nice.
maintenance. So like we're there every few months, so they already know us, right? They call us for
That's good.
most of the calls. So even like when they were trying second opinions or anything else, like with this other company, we know the history of the unit. We're there more than that other company, so they end up giving us the work again.
That's
So
good.
maintenance is always a good way to get in the door. It's the easiest way to get work. Like
Hmm.
Mark was saying, you offer a discount, whatever of sorts, just
Hmm.
to go in there. And I typically, I try to make it worthwhile for them. Like make sure that they can see that it was cleaned, and talk them through it and explain everything. Make sure they got their money's worth, whatever you guys charge, right? And they get comfortable with you. That's the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Like I said
I felt like
earlier, customer
I've created a
service is a
lot of.
big deal.
It is. It really is a big deal, and it creates a lot of value when you do a thorough job. So our $59 tune-ups, people probably think like it's nothing. You know what I mean? It's not much, but we do a thorough job when it comes to that. We check everything. We check duct work. We check the sizing of it, control board, blower wheel, blower motor, cleanliness, evap coil, all that stuff. We'll even pull out the blower motor if it's dirty, and we'll show it to the customer. We're not gonna clean it for free, but we're gonna show it to the customer.
Yeah.
But it's very. I know I posted a video not long ago, and they thought I was doing it for free. They're like, "What the heck?" Got so many comments, but no, it shows a lot of value when you're doing a thorough job creating that customer service and just showing them and stuff like that. And then because at the end of the day, on a $59 tune up, on a $200 maintenance, $300 maintenance, you're losing money because that call alone costs $300 to $500 here in California at least. $300 to $500 for marketing leads each call. So you're losing money anyways. You know what I mean? So you just have to create that good, thorough, relationship and service to them, and they'll make their own decision on what they want to get done.
Yeah. Mark said you got to check your
Mark,
emails.
let me see. Bro, I get so many emails.
How's
Yeah.
the social media for you? Is that getting a little hectic for you, or how are you handling that?
Social media was getting really hectic. It was to a point where I was posting like once every 3 weeks on YouTube, 4 weeks, once a month on YouTube. It was definitely rough. What it is editing. Editing takes a lot, and keeping up with sponsors, of course. But it's definitely took a turn recently. I hired an editor, which is one of my friends. He's been
Oh,
doing
cool.
great. So last couple of videos were edited by him on YouTube, the long form content. So it's taken a lot of of that work off of me. So it's been great.
It's a whole other job because I kn- I I've done it for a few years now, and I was like, I always looked at it as a business. I'm like, like it's kind of the same thing that we talked about earlier, like building a brand, building like a community and guys that I enjoy like talking with on like in the chats or in messages.
Yeah,
Um, and this year I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it a little bit more serious, and I started posting more and doing more, and it's turned into a whole other job. Which, like you said, you got your own sponsors and your own things to do. Like it's time consuming. You know, you
it
work all
is.
day, and then you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, where'd you go?
No, you're good.
You work all day, and then you got to work on a video or whatever your sponsors need, and this and that. So
Yep, it is
it's
the
been
same.
hectic for me, and I've had people that ask me like, hey, we would love to edit your videos, this and that. I'm like, unless I'm there like hand in hand with it, I don't think I would trust anybody with it personally. It's good that you have a friend that can help you because I was like, you're probably not gonna know how to edit an HVAC video, basically, you know.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I was very concerned about. Because he doesn't do HVAC, so he's not, aware of that. But he's been doing very good. Like, he knows what to put in, what not to put in, and he's learned. He felt like he's learned so much of just HVAC, the trade itself, from just editing my videos, which is pretty cool.
That's funny.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is.
Made in USA, I must say, Kraus is probably the best brand I've seen. I love his, because he does help or play a hand in that business that they have. It's him and his buddy
Oh, nice.
with the
The
because they're saying
the
you know
busy bee, right?
with the yeah with the bee and everything like that. Great colors, great. It pops great. They got a great logo that came out of it, and it's really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely looks very professional.
I'm gonna go through the chat really quick. So that whole business, your goal here is eventually to run your own thing, right?
Correct. My goal is to
So
start my own company.
so that
Be
is with your friend. You guys are kind of lining up to do that eventually.
Yeah, so me and Mikal, that is our plan. We've talked about it with our mentor. We have one more year here at Caribou Comfort working with him, and then we're gonna move. He wants us to transition to a $5 to $10 million company and work for
Oh
them
yeah,
for 1 year, so that we can learn how they operate at that scale. And then from there, we start our own thing.
I forgot about that. You had mentioned that you have like a little plan basically of you move to this company, you got what you got experience wise and all that. You're gonna move to a bigger company before you do your own thing. Um, any I don't know any obstacles or like you're just taking it, chill, trying to you know I guess, pace yourself beforehand. Have you guys talked about like names and branding and all that? I know you're reading the books right now, but have you guys already dived into that?
Yeah, that was what we established on our very first meeting with our mentor. Is our name? We came up with our name. I don't. So we what we came up with was classic comfort. That's the type of vibe that we like came up with because we like that like vintage type style. When it comes to like suits, like the ones behind me.
Okay.
So that was like the vibe I was going for. And then as far as like obstacles or anything we've seen, not too much. Honestly, we're taking it slow right now. What we're doing is just planning ahead. Um, Coming up with the name in January. We'll be securing the ILC, or not the ILC, the S corp. And then there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Oh, the next step was is branding. So we're gonna in a probably a few months from now, we're gonna put a down payment towards the branding. Um, so he can get started on that and create the design and everything. So that's the exciting part because I want to get this van wrapped already. This van, I looking at it, I'm like, bro, I can just imagine what this guy can create for me and like
Yeah.
create a mascot. Like what I'm envisioning is like the 50s vibe, like classic 50s vibe, like a dude, with a comb over, with a suit jacket. I don't know, something cool. And I was someone
Oh, what
threw the
is like
idea.
or I don't know, just what came to mind was like Fallout, super
Yeah,
retro vibe, right?
exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone said
Yeah,
something
that's
about
cool.
like those vintage fans that are like wired, thin, like something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. That was just super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can play off of that with so many things as far as
Oh
like
yeah.
marketing and branding.
Yeah, and then you want to come with like a not a trademark, but like a saying. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So it could be like classic comfort service, like the old days, or service like they used to, something like that.
You got to have a tagline.
You
I
got
played
to.
around with that and see like I just did everything. Uh, I'll admit I was in college going to for mechanical engineering or something else. Like I was completely not even looking at the trade that I'm in now. But
Hmm.
I don't do well in school. Like I do well, but I don't like being there. I don't like the lectures and note taking. So when I was in college, I was doodling in my notebook because I my dad was starting the business at that point, and that's kind of where I made our first logos, which
Nice.
complete trash. I mean, I completely ditched those. They
Yeah.
were good enough for the start, and that's where I did a lot of my designing was in class when I should have been paying attention. But I also did the taglines, right? It was like, okay, reliable kitchen problems rely on us, and we've kind of stuck with that for a
Nice.
long time. It's simple, right?
Yeah, it is.
And
It's good.
I played around with like funny stuff because that was in for a while. Like our shirts used to say, "I'm here because you broke something," and was always a conversation starter. I had one guy that didn't like it, and he was very upset, but I was like, whatever. Everybody else liked it.
That's funny.
um, and then somebody told me to run with the we fix things around here, which I did for a while, but like you said, I kind of like the classic stuff. So we're kind of reverting back to the rely on us tagline just to keep it simple and
And it goes with
maybe
your name,
not,
your branding.
yeah, and not be so, I don't know, conceited or whatever people might think. So kind of going
Yeah.
back to basics with that. And, you know, I did all that, like I said, doodling in class when I probably should have been paying attention, but it is what it
Yeah.
is.
I'm the same way, man. Wasn't paying much attention in school.
Trey's over college. I've been so busy between work, side jobs. He's back in school now to get his license. Have you guys? Are you both gonna get your license, or is one of you gonna get your license? Like, have you
I,
guys
I,
thought of that?
I think just one of us. I don't think we both need it. If you wanted to, you can get it. But I definitely want to get my license, and I think we can both work under. He can work under me. Pretty sure that's how it works. I'll talk to my mentor to clarify. But yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's the
no,
plan.
that works. And
Yeah.
here, people actually, what do you call it? Rent out their licenses to other companies. Like
Really.
it's as long as one person has it and they vouch for whoever works for them, whether it's a company or somebody else, like it covers them. But
Got it.
here I've seen where they rent, like somebody will get their license just to have it and they rent it out.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
That's
or they
interesting.
just run without a license, which I've seen too, but you know how
Yeah,
that
that's.
goes.
Now, yeah, I was wondering where Ryan's been at. He's been makes sense. Side jobs and school for his license and work.
Yeah, he's
Busy.
he's always he's always up to something, man.
Yeah,
I so I
normal
kind of
insurance.
yeah, I think we covered most of what I wanted to talk about, but you had brought up AHR. You're gonna be
Hmm.
there at Vegas.
Yes, sir. I'll be there at AHR and the award show. Yep.
Sounds good. I can't wait
Right.
to get out there. It's in Vegas. I'm trying to go out Saturday, so I'm not late or rushing to anything. Um,
Yeah.
but it's always a good time seeing everybody there and talking to different people at as far as like companies and manufacturers. I'm gonna make sure that I don't book myself like I did last time, where I was trying to run around everywhere. I'm just gonna like walk and talk and enjoy it more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
AHR is just a blast to me
It
for the
is.
people that you see there from social
Yeah.
media.
Oh yeah. Ryan's not gonna make it. Dang, that is crazy, bro. That's crazy.
What?
No, yeah. It was a blast. AHR meeting everyone, meeting the whole, the HVAC community, people who watch your content. It was super cool, and it brings so many opportunities for those. There's so many, bro. Adrian, you seen the amount of young HVAC guys on Instagram, YouTube that's popping up recently. It's a lot. So if they
It's
hear about this
insane.
opportunity, yeah, it's crazy. If they go here though, it's a great opportunity for them to branch out and get their name out there because that's how I got my all my sponsorships was at AHR. Selling myself to all the big brands.
Yeah. So hey, like the first time I went, me and my brother went, we were like in awe of everything. This was before like there was this many influencers, but um we soaked it in as far as like what we saw, you know, as far as like equipment and different tools, and there's always new stuff being unveiled. So we were really into it. But after that, because I've gone already like to four of them, I believe, and it's the people that you see, and then like you said, you can go and talk to everybody there at the booths and stuff. And I think you went around and just like introduce, because you were getting into social media at that point, like you were introducing yourself and you had already built up a little bit of a following and just introducing yourself, which I find weird too, because I ended up doing that and I'm like, oh, I got a deal out of it or whatever it is. And it's just taking the initiative to go and talk to these people, because they're all, a lot of them are marketing people. Honestly, a lot of
Mhm.
them are people that are on their social media doing something, and you introduce yourself, you never know what can happen.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that was very eye opening, right? You get to meet all the important people, talk to everybody. I love going
Yep.
by like Navac Field Piece, talking to like Tony, all the guys that you see like on their social medias, and you get to see them there in person. Obviously, the award show is a little more um, low key. Like you can actually have conversations, and it's not like rushing by and then trying to say hi.
Yeah.
The award show is great for that, to network. I've met so many important people there, which turned out to help me later on. So it's a very cool
Definitely.
vibe, and there's, like you said, there's so many people now that do it. I love to see it. I love all
Oh yeah.
the content popping up, all the new guys popping up. It's great to see, and then you get to build these friendships. I love all the guys on social media, and it's even better seeing them in person.
Definitely. Yeah, it's awesome for sure.
Here's another one. Here's Xavier. Got a question for
Xavier.
E. What's the best thing about being considered an HVAC influencer?
Um, I don't know. So being an HVAC influencer, I think the exposure is a great benefit that you get from it because when you get that exposure through online, it brings so many opportunities. Like in the real world, I got that job opportunity because of the exposure I had on social media, and then of course it brings the sponsorships that want to sponsor you, and it's another side income for yourself. I think those are two great, benefits of becoming an influencer. But you have to stand by those companies and make sure that you're representing a company that is a great company because you're influencing your viewers, to want that product or company.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another important thing. And I think all around, just being able to like for me, being able to show my generation, the younger generation, how the trades are, he giving them a realistic video of how they are. I think it's a great opportunity because a lot of people have a bad stigma on trades. They view it as a last resort when it really can be your first resort because they're very lucrative and very stable. So yeah, those are some benefits for sure.
Yeah, those are all good things, right? You and man, what was I gonna say? So for me, it's just to kind of piggyback off that question there. Like you said, I've heard of so many people that get job opportunities just because they're online. Like, and you never know who's watching. I have a lot of people locally that watch me, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um, but you don't, the whole influencing part, now I remembered, the whole influencing part, even though you think you're just a regular nobody, whatever, but you have a following, right? Because you're posting consistently. You end up getting followers and people that subscribe to a YouTube channel, whatever it is that you're doing content wise. Your opinion actually matters to some people because I've learned that, and I try to be honest too. Like I've turned down so many things that I don't want to promote because it's not something that I would use or buy myself. I always take that into consideration. But whenever I do mention something, or I even just me working, and they're like, hey, what's that light? Hey, what's that tool that you use there? What's that? And they're like, I bought it because of you, or I bought it, because you spoke highly of it or you recommended it. So that does happen. I used to think like, oh, nobody really cares about what I think, but like it does happen. So you do need to be careful when you do post online, be honest. My whole mindset with that is, am I using it realistically every day, or am I actually going to buy it if it wasn't given to me? I take all that into consideration, and it's a whole thing being
It
on
is.
social media. You put yourself out there, and you're up for criticism. You're up for this and that. My one of my other, I guess, benefits about being in this space and then having what I have is I have a voice. So I try to put others up with my platform that need a voice, or people complain to me about something. I'm like, hold up, let me go reach out to this company because they might not see your message, but they'll see my message. Or we've had this we've had conversations before about some companies with stuff breaking or stuff not working. I will directly either post or reach out to them, and more times than not, just because I have a couple thousand followers, whatever it is, like they'll respond. And that's one of my greatest things or feelings, is when I can have a voice that these companies will listen to, because it's happened a few
Yeah.
times this year. And it's good when they fix things and they actually listen, and I love that.
Exactly. No, it's good because imagine if there was no one who would do that. Maybe it got swept under the rug. They wouldn't have realized.
No.
Yeah.
Tyler's asking, are you going to do strictly residential? Are you guys looking into any other opportunities when you start your business?
Well, Macau was coming from a commercial job at first, so he was in love with commercial. And that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to do 50, he wanted him to do commercial and then me do residential. But after getting immersed into residential with the company we work with now, he started to like it and learn more about it. And he's seeing the money that is in residential. And I think we're leaning towards just mostly residential right now. But that's the thing, like it takes a lot more to start up commercial, is what I've heard compared to residential because a lot of bigger ticket jobs, etc. So obviously the starting point is residential, and if we do want to move into commercial, we can definitely do that later on.
Yeah, I'm picky. I only do commercial.
Yeah.
We don't make a ton on installs. Ours is more service based, and it's a lot of travel time, trip fees, whatever you want to call it. And being able to charge what we want to charge on commercial jobs and stuff like that. Like we don't really do a lot of installs. We've done a lot of bids. We just haven't won any because there's always someone cheaper. So
Yeah.
just because people were asking earlier, like how we stay busy or you know how we manage. Again, it goes back to knowing what to charge and knowing your worth. So we've made a lot of adjustments there to where, and I even have like a minimum. It has to be like an hour and a half that I charge, even if I'm there for like 20 minutes or whatever, right? I gotta
Yeah.
charge a certain time and my trip to get there because we do commercial. Commercial is more driving. So there's all these little factors, and I need to get back to these because I had a lot of emails for people wanting me to be on their business podcast, and I was like, I don't think I know what I'm doing. I don't think my dad knows what he's doing. Like we just literally charge more than we spend, and we try to keep it that way.
Yeah. Simple. Yep. Yep. That's too funny.
Yeah,
Adrian is
we
big
had
time.
our
Everyone answers this call. That's facts.
Jake was like, you should pull up the emails in the show. I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll bring
Oh,
it up,
yeah.
but I've
Yeah.
I've,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
gotten so many emails from like different companies.
Yep.
Uh, it's funny though. But yeah,
That's
like
good.
when we started, we lost a lot of money because our employees were just spending like crazy, and we weren't making the money that we needed to, and that's where you gotta figure things out. That's that whole like, I'm sure you guys have talked about it, like overhead and
Hmm.
making sure everything's covered, and there's so many other expenses that you need to take into consideration, not just whatever the part cost and an hour of labor. There's other
Yeah.
things. That's why
There
a lot of
is. Yeah.
guys like in residential like to do the rates. For me, I just have a minimum that I want to make on a ticket, which is usually I try to put it in there for like labor. Like I need an hour and a half, 2 hours at least, even if it was a quick job.
Definitely. No, yeah, there's a lot to consider. We went over this. It's like marketing expense, your payroll, the commission that your tech gets, and the office. There's a lot of people you got to pay before you actually even make money.
So I guess my name is Aaron now, but Ewok and Aaron, do you try to educate yourself on products? And we'll kind of end with maybe this one. Well, actually, Xavier just popped in again. Uh,
Yeah.
do you educate yourself on products and topics before posting, or do you not overthink it and just post? I think I've kind of answered this, but maybe you can maybe your mindset when you go into sponsorships. I
Yeah,
have
we
to
kind of
know.
talked
I
about
have
this
to
a little
know.
bit.
Well, really quick, I have to know it and I have to use it, or I won't
Yeah.
post it.
Hmm. Definitely. No, yeah, and we kind of talked about this a bit. Like, we have to make sure it's a good product because if we're making our viewers look at this product that is super cheap, you guys are spending your hard earned money, and you guys, it's not we received it for free, sure, but we got to think about your end because you guys are paying for it with it.
And the prices have gone up so much because I was looking into buying like probes again from certain brands that I don't have anymore. And I was like, these were like a couple $100 cheaper a couple years ago or a year ago. And
Yeah,
um,
it's
they're not
crazy.
cheap because I'm just going to put JB as an example real quick. Like that gets posted either way because those were sent out to me. I still posted that they broke. You've
Yeah,
had your, talks with them too. But what was I going to say? Those I think were like $800 or $700 not too long ago. I just checked again. I think they're 900 now. So
really.
they're only
Jeez.
getting more expensive. And I had a lot of messages from people that were like, "Hey, I wanted to buy those," or "Hey, I just bought those," and I have to give them my honest opinion. I mean, that's just how it works.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
again, I as soon as somebody messages me about something or sends out something, I will go look up the price. I will go look up maybe videos on it, and then I'm taking it to work. And if it breaks, it breaks. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I'll
Exactly.
still post about it. That's just
Yeah.
my thought process there.
And then to answer his last question is about being an expert on the topic. I don't think we have to be experts to, on the topic. We just got to know. We just got to know if it's working for us and if it, put it through a stress
Yeah,
test through us. I think.
my whole thing is this is, and I feel like I have to do a disclaimer sometimes. This is my experience with it because some people will defend it or bash it in the comments, and I'm like, this is my experience with it. It's whatever happened when I had it. So Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. Xavier, one question for both of you guys. If y'all had to decide what are y'all top five content creators out there for HVAC, basically who would you recommend for young guys?
Oh, there's so many. First thing that comes to mind is going to be Xavier himself, Macau. There is my buddy who makes awesome content. Uh, oh man, I forget his username. It's a little different. But while I look for that, another one would be HVAC Disciples. He's been
Oh
pumping
yeah,
content out like crazy, and he's been really
guys,
consistent.
guys in the
Yeah,
chat, he's gonna be on next week,
nice, awesome. No, yeah, he's been awesome. He's been pumping out content, getting sponsors really quickly. But yeah, those are the other one
and
that I meant
he's
to say was Tay official. So Tay,
oh
how
yeah,
do you pronounce his name? Taynon,
I have
Taynon.
no idea.
Yeah, Tane official.
And
T A Y N official.
so many of these guys are well, disciple, super humble, super nice guy, just all around. He's always thankful, grateful. He works somewhere, but like a lot of these other guys, I think they have a family business or they're in some way like helping run it or helping, in a big way at their company. So those are all good names. Those are all people that are doing big things in their businesses or, wherever they work at. And it's very, from what I've seen, like even from you and Trades Over College in the comments and stuff, like there are so many kids out there that are looking for these videos. And if they can relate to somebody, even better. Because I think I used to uh, appeal more to the younger people, but now that we actually have younger people, like they're relating to you guys because you all are the same age. Like it's good to see you get
Yeah,
a lot of engagement, and that's my whole thing is anybody that starts posting, somebody relates to you or what you're doing, and someone's in your situation. You just never know. So you've seen that. You've seen a lot of
yeah,
people that are getting into trade school or just looking for a trade, and they see your videos, right, and it helps them.
yeah. No, yeah, definitely. It's awesome to have that audience for sure. Help them out. Yep.
So I'm gonna stick to the old heads. I'm gonna say Craig Migliaccio, AC Service Tech. Ty Brenneman is my top of everything. Uh, HVAC school. Curtis is always a good one for just you will never be able to binge watch all his videos, so you'll always have content.
Yep.
uh, and I'm gonna shout out Jake really quick, but I'm trying to think that there's a lot of good ones, man. There's so many. So those are mine.
There is.
Ewok had his.
Yep.
It's a good
Yep.
mix.
Yeah. It is for sure. Definitely.
Um, I think that's it. I think we got into everything. I think we got all the questions that I could see. There was so many people in here. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Thanks again, man. It was good
Of
catching
course.
up, seeing what you're up to. Buying a work van instead of a BMW. Moving companies. Already planning to start your own business. You got a lot going on, and doing the social media thing too as well. So happy to see it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna hit the outro. Everybody watching and listening, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and hopefully I don't mess this up. See you guys.